If you've been watching the channel, you know that I recently got a Fosi amplifier in the BT20A and I reviewed it and you guys really enjoyed that video. Because of that, I decided to review this one as well, which is Fosi's new amplifier, the V3. And holy cow, this is kind of cool. Look at this. This is like the biggest power brick that I have ever seen on a budget mini amplifier like this. This thing is a 48 volt, 6 amp power supply. Now, I was actually surprised when Fosi asked me to review this because I actually like the BT20A and there's a lot of similarities. It uses the exact same op amps, it uses the exact same amplifier chip, and it actually loses some functionality. So if we take a look at it on the front, it doesn't have your treble and bass response, and it doesn't also have Bluetooth. So the question I was wondering is, why would someone want this over the already BT20A? Here's the deal. I think I know why. One, it has the ability to come with a bigger power supply. More on that in just a minute. But this actually has upgraded cooling. If we take a look at it, it does have cooling on the bottom and it has a heat sink actually attached there. And then it does have some holes on the top, which also allows heat to dissipate. That's really important when you're trying to get more power out of it. Now, exactly how much more power does this do? We're going to get to that in a minute when we actually do the testing. But the power supply is 288 watts. So that's a huge power supply for a mini amplifier like this. Now, the only other thing that came in here is this, which is a famous Fosi knob, which you can actually take this black one off, which is the exact same size, and you can put the orange one on instead if you like that two-tone color. It does have a switched potentiometer. The cool thing about this potentiometer too, they did something a little bit different with this potentiometer. Instead of using a normal linear potentiometer, which is what most people use, and I know it is called a linear potentiometer, and in theory it is actually linear, but the way that we hear the linear potentiometer actually feels like it skips steps when you're turning it up. And so some people have complained about cheaper amplifiers where it seems like the volume actually jumps up when they just turn it up a little bit. So what Fosi has done is they've actually used a logarithmic potentiometer, and this really is much better with the volume going up. It is a much more linear response as far as our hearing goes, turning this up and down, and that makes a huge difference on using this. Now, this particular amplifier, I would consider a desktop amplifier. The only way to turn it off is with the potentiometer. You just turn this all the way down, it shuts it off, and it does, you can hear it click on and off. So you do know when you turned it off. The only way to hook up audio to it is with these RCAs on the back. So you will want probably a 3.5 millimeter RCA if you're using like a laptop or a desktop. It does not come with any cables, or at least mine did not. It does have the line out again, so this allows you to hook up another amplifier to it, or what I think most people will do is they'll actually hook up a subwoofer amplifier to this. You can just run a 3.5 millimeter RCA out again, once again, and then you can turn this into like a little 2.1 system as long as your subwoofer has an amplifier, built-in amplifier of some kind. It uses the exact same binding posts, which are insulated binding posts, but they are pretty close together, so there might be some banana plugs that you might have issues going into. The ones that I use, I didn't have any problems with though. One of the issues you get with a lot of these mini amplifiers is the fact that they use very cheap internal components, and that really does affect the sound quality when you're listening to it. And so they'll use basically reproduction parts that say they're Japanese or German made, and they're not. They're just not good capacitors, and sometimes they're even B stock. Not so with Fosi. When you take a look at the capacitors and the inductors, they're actually German and Japanese made, very, very good. And they do claim a very low distortion of 0.003. You're not going to hear that. Everything about this screams quality, even its frequency response of 0.1 decibel from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Now, this is, once again, a really nice aluminum case. I feel like Fosi does a really good job on their finish. If you take a look even at the lettering, it's just very nice, sharp, and crisp. And even their logo looks really, really good. honestly, they're just one of the companies that do a really good job on their finish work. It does include some rubber feet, so that's not going to be moving anywhere. I just really appreciate the work that they do in this. The power supply that it can use is anywhere from a 24 volt to 48 volt power supply. Now, interestingly enough, this does come with 2 different power supplies. It comes with either the 36 volt power supply or the 48 volt. I just don't see why you would do anything other than the 48 volt. I mean, that's the reason why I think you're buying this. This has all been designed so that you can hopefully get the maximum amount of power out of this amplifier. Now, supposedly this chip is capable of 2x300 watts. It's not going to get there. The main thing that we care about now is how much power it's going to get. So let's check it out and see exactly how much power we get with the included power supply, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts. Unfortunately, while making this video, my test equipment ended up dying on me, so I couldn't actually test the exact wattage. Based off of the other Fosi amplifier that they did, I'm guessing it's about 90% efficient, and with that in mind, you should get around 105 to 110 watts per channel out of this. Although I can't tell you for sure since I couldn't test it. All right, so here's the deal. You don't buy this amplifier unless you're buying that power supply, the 48 volt 6 amp power supply. There's just no reason to buy this over the BT20A. That's my opinion. You're buying this because of the cooling, all right? All those extra holes in it, and that is why this is so good. Now, not only does it get you that wattage, which is 4 ohm, by the way, it does so in this very small, compact design. And if you have smaller, inefficient speakers, I mean, this thing is definitely the way to go. I really like this Fosi amplifier. Here's the deal. Fosi did me a solid favor and you a solid favor. They said, hey, look, if anyone wants this amplifier, I want to make sure to give them a discount code. So there is a discount code. I linked it down in the description. Just follow the link. That discount code works on all of the platforms. It works on Amazon. It works on AliExpress. It works on Fosi's website. So if there's a favorite website that you want to order from, go right ahead. I like Amazon myself, but use whichever one you want to. Use that code, save some extra money if you think this is for you. Honestly, I really like this. So this is Toy Audio, and I'm out.